Hemang Jani, we are just trying to understand BSE and then there is NSE and then there is MCX. Why suddenly exchange valuations have gone up? I mean, I was looking at a data yesterday where the valuations of, I think, NSE are now higher than NASDAQ. NASDAQ.
Yeah, good morning, Nikunj. Very interesting question. I think NSE, of course, by far the biggest exchange, particularly in terms of the dominant position it has on the option side. Definitely, there is the appetite across investors. The only point, Nikunj, is that this year, because of the new SEBI regulations, if you look at NSE's performance for last 2 quarters, it has not been great, but if you have IPO clearance and on a lower base, people start looking for next year numbers. Obviously, there is going to be a significant, growth that one can really look at. And the fact that the position they have through gift, this entire SGX Nifty part, a large part of the market share has been grabbed by them. The data streaming monetization will happen. So I think it's an interesting story and people really want to participate there. As far as BSE is concerned, I think the valuation is definitely looking stretch at 75 times. The only positive takeaway I can see for BSE is that on the options market, they have a share of about 15%, the premium. And now that the expiry issue is settled, more or less, with SEBI's diktat that you will have Tuesday and Thursday as the two expiries, there is a sense that the BSE will eventually, get a market share of 30-35% versus 15%. When you have mental market share gain story, people want to participate. But I do think that, things are looking much better for NSE and MCX versus BSE at this point.
Okay, that's what's happening within the listed pool of the exchanges themselves. But yesterday, of course, the market texture looked a lot different. You had some of the select auto names which made a comeback, Tata Motors being one such case in point. You had Eternal, which is now, sprung back to those 246 odd levels. And then there was Geo Financials as well, which made it to that 291 price point, and that was a gain of about almost 2% that you saw on this particular stock. Hemang, any new ideas that you're working with in this market, or would you say that the valuations are getting a little toppish?
Aisha, good morning. First thing that comes to my mind is that some of these fintech platform companies, Eternal and Swiggy, I do think that given the recent trends where the unlisted names like Zepto, even Flipkart, some issues in terms of raising funds, the cash burn is on a higher side. And when we look at Eternal, which is sitting on a cash of 18,000 crore, even Swiggy, because of the IPO and the cash raise that they have done, are relatively better placed. So from a quarterly earnings, surprise perspective and their dominant positioning perspective, I do find, both these companies quite compelling at this point. I think there is a case for a minimum 15 to 25% kind of an uptick for Swiggy and about 18 to 22% kind of an uptick as far as Eternal is concerned.
Those notes have come out, and there is one on United Spirits from Citi. There's one space in my book which frankly has not done anything great, and one stock which has done nothing great, or two stocks which you can just connect with. I mean, our viewers can connect with United Spirits for the brands they have. They can connect with, let's say, Sula Vineyards because of the leadership they have in the wine space. But let's look at the stock here, guys. 52-week Sula Vineyard has gone the other way, just collapsed. Whereas United Spirits, even on a 5-year basis, I think United Spirits has been one of those stocks where a lot of wealth is not created. Similarly, none of the other smaller alcohol beverage stocks, Alco Bev as we call them, the ones like Tilak Nagar, Global Spirits, Radico is an outlier, guys. I mean, Radico from COVID just went through the roof. But none of these stocks in last 1 year have done anything great. So Tilak Nagar may be in a multi-bagger in last 5 years, but in last 1 year, 450 has come down to 360, now seems to be recovering. Hemang, what do you like within the alcohol beverage space? Because I get a sense that looking at the price trend, that these stocks have consolidated enough. I mean, they are now ready to get into that spin, if I may use the word, early morning.
Yeah, so Nikunj, when you say what do you like, it's from stock perspective or?
So I said, what do you like in the alcohol beverage space stocks? Early morning, we should be talking about protein shake and chai and coffee, not alcohol beverage stocks at least.
So Nikunj, I think while that space is looking quite divergent in terms of performance, what has stood out is that some of the larger players, be it United Spirits, United Breweries, even Radico Khaitan have done much better. And when you look at closely at the numbers, what let's say in the case of United Spirits, what stood out was that the premium brand volume growth continues to be about 8 to 10%. And if you have some sort of a trade treaty with UK, that bring an additional amount of cheer for the stock. So I do think that United Spirits by far looks the best in the current scenario, followed by United Breweries, where because some states there were some issues going on, they could actually launch the product. So there will be some volume benefit over there. But stick to the larger names to my mind.
The Jubilant group of companies, which is starting with Jubilant Food, Jubilant Pharmova, Jubilant Ingrevia. Jubilant Pharmova is in pharma. Jubilant Ingrevia is, you would say actually specialty chemical for Ingrevia, and pharma is actually into pharma, and then they've got acquisitions which they've done outside India. Because of those acquisitions, some of their businesses now seems to be stabilizing. But in general, I guess Jubilant group of stocks and these companies have not really created a lot of thunder, so to speak. Another pocket I want to revisit today, and we normally don't talk about, is some of the MNC stocks, MNC pharma stocks, for example, Pfizer, Abbott. Where have they been? There you go. I mean, they're not like the most liquid stocks, but we don't talk about it. But quietly, silently, these stocks have started consolidating. By the way, Abbott, and just hold your breath here. Do a 10-year chart of Abbott. We don't talk about Abbott, but some of these stocks like Abbott, Glaxo, they've just given linear moves. Another classic one which we don't talk about, I think, is Bosch. It was known as Myco. They got disrupted because of what was happening in the EV business, and now Bosch has also made a roaring comeback ever since they've really got the acquisition right on the track. And anything which you like, Hemang, in the MNC space?
Yeah, so Nikunj, when we look at MNC companies, I do find that Bosch actually reported a very stable set of numbers. And now when you look at their revenue streams, apart from the typical consumer products related work that they do, certain components from EV side they have started getting. And even when you look at their global company, I think their revenue stream has become much better with a larger component of EV and related services. So I do find Bosch quite interesting. The very good diversification across auto and the consumer products. Pfizer and Abbott and all, the companies are great, but they have really run up in the last, let's say, about 1.5 months, and it's hard to figure out what is the trigger. Is it a US treaty or something else? Because the numbers reflecting anything material in terms of surprise. So not too sure about those ones.
I just want to bring up Angel One. Their gross client acquisition has come in with an uptick of about 2% on a month-on-month basis. And the F&O market share as well has perked up both on a month-on-month and year-on-year basis. Hemang, I know we were talking about exchanges, but what about the larger capital markets pool? Your AMCs, wealth managers, brokerages, mutual funds, anything that looks nice?
Then if I have to pick one particular theme, I would certainly go with the wealth companies, because there I do see a case for a structural bigger bull run. So something like that 361 or Nuvama, where there is also possibility of a consolidation at a broader level. So I will be going with that theme. As far as some of the brokerage firms are concerned, I think that they have really run up quite smartly. But I'm not sure what kind of growth they will report given the new regulations, particularly those brokerage firms which have a higher dependence upon the options revenue. Let's say Angel One and few others who do not have a diversified revenue stream. I don't think that the valuations are not justified in the current scenario. There might be some disappointment in terms of earnings, at least in the near term.
Hemang, have to discuss autos, given that it was quite a mixed bag when it came to the monthly sales data. But it's already been an ahead of time arrival for the monsoon, and it seems that it's going to be above normal this time. That's the prediction from the IMD. Do you think that's going to give a fillip to the two-wheeler sales hereafter, along with that rate easing cycle?
Yes, I do think that there will be a certain positive rub-off that one can really expect from a normal monsoon and much better sentiment. Also, the fact that the rate cut may happen very soon. Whether it's 25, 50, we all can debate, but the fact remains that the trajectory is going to be downwards. Definitely bodes well for some of the auto names. What really stood out for this is Mahindra, which is delivering 20% plus kind of growth, the most challenging environment, though part of their this EV portfolio is at risk because of the treaty that you may have with the US, but the impact will not be more than 3 or 4%. So that stands out. And the other one is TVS, which again is delivering much better versus a Hero or a TVS, Hero or Bajaj. So I definitely think that Mahindra and TVS are the two names that we would like to go with.
Hemang, we'll let you go on that note. Thanks as always for your time.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.